possible here, partly because it's not sunny, and partly because we still have a couple of blocks to go. This is where the original Methodist church was built. Picture of it here, picture here in your binder, and it didn't sit right here. It sat just to the north in what's now that easement that people walk through and sometimes try and drive, just immediately on the north side of this building. The original was built 1896, and in 1910 they tore it down, and this picture here is the foundation, the cornerstone laying in 1910. And it wasn't for this particular structure, it was for an octagonal structure, sort of there. And they had the excavations done for the church, and the economy crashed, and so they couldn't build this church until the early to mid 1920s. It's dedicated in 1927, and at that point they tore down the octagonal structure and just started from scratch. They used to have church services in the octagonal structure, but all of the basement area here, parents were a bit concerned because their kids would come bursting out of school, Sunday school or whatever, and we can wander around on all of these things. So Grace Fletcher came in 1885 with 3 small children, including Carol and Maud, the oldest, who drew the little hand-drawn map. Her husband Joe had come a year earlier. He was a binge alcoholic, encouraged, I suppose, I would think, by his family to come to a temperance colony. They homesteaded out where Montgomery is, but he was not reliable. And there's a whole thing about Grace and a woman's rights with regard to a homestead, because the woman had no rights. Her husband could drink himself to death or sell the farm out from under her, and she had no recourse. So she did lead a delegation to Saskatoon City Council to protest this, and that they should make some kind of official statement. Grace died in we'll back up. So she bought a building on Broadway, had a store, used to trade some of her groceries to her customers for cattle. She amassed a cattle herd. She bought land out near Dundurn for her cattle. She was wheeling and dealing in real estate in Saskatoon. It's amazing when you read the 1903 tax assessment how much property Grace owns. She died in 1907, and her estate was worth over $1 million in our money, and she left $5,000 to the Newtana Methodist Church. So that's when they changed the name to Grace Methodist. And in 1925, when the United Church of Canada came to be, the Methodists, the Presbyterians, and the Congregationalists all united. And so Westminster Presbyterian, which was on the corner of East Lake and 12th, amalgamated with Grace Methodist, and that's where the Westminster comes in. It's a gorgeous church, as most of those old churches were. So at that, we're going to go over to we're heading for the Mar, something cold to drink, and we'll stop briefly to look down the hill at the new bridge. And for those who are leaving now, I'm sorry I lied about the time. But I think you all even
Land.